Okay, let's do this. Greetings, dear Libra. This is Tarot Lumination. And it is your love and relationship generic report for May 2019. Remember, this too shall pass. Okay? Think of it as weather, like a weather report. Cards are already well shuffled in advance, but we're going to go again just to be sure, okay? And that you're a witness. Here's the basic information. This is just raw data, okay? All month long, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto are all retrograde. That's heavy-duty retrogrades. You know how tough it can be sometimes with Mercury retrograde. Now imagine this. Ha, ha, ha. May 4th, we have the Taurus new moon. All month long, Mercury is zooming. It starts in Aries, goes all to Taurus, and then on through Gemini. Woohoo! May 15th, Venus moves from Aries to Taurus. Mars moves from Gemini to Cancer. Okay, shifting of energy. May 18th, the full moon. Taurus sun opposed by the Scorpio moon. Okay. May 21st, sun moves into Gemini. So the last one over here, all month long, we have the heavy pressure of Pluto and Saturn in Capricorn, around 22 degrees. The reason it's such an intense pressure is because we're going through the stationary retrograde period. For Pluto, it's very slow. So you might have been feeling it all the way through April, and then in May, it's here, okay? And it's about like the deepest, most profound, unresolved parts of our soul that need revealing for the healing, okay? And Pluto and Saturn working together there are saying, it's about time, people. We're going to do this. It's like the security guards and the karma police are sitting there basically saying, I'm sorry, dear Libra, you don't have any options right now. You're going to have to deal with this stuff, okay? So let's have a look. This is just a quickie, okay? That's all we ever do here anyway. This is just the Tarot Lumination Astro Doodle. It's for Libra, May 2019. See all that red? It's there for a reason. This is you, Libra, over here. Nothing, to worry about over here for you being Libra. It's just all this other stuff out here. Okay, so first of all, for the first half of May, you've got a huge stellium in Aries opposing you over here, okay, in your 7th house. So if you're feeling like a lot of obstacles, insurmountable obstacles, or just confounding energy in relationship that doesn't make any sense, like looking at a huge brick wall, not knowing what to do, that would make sense. Also, like the irresistible force. Have you heard that expression? The immovable object meets the irresistible force. That's sort of what we're talking about here. Moving on, we've got the new moon, May 4th, over here in your 8th house of intimacy, shared resources. This is where it gets very difficult at times, because with the 8th house, regarding the energy of intimacy, this is like, especially when it comes to love and relationship, it's like what's actually happening with us as a couple, deep down as a soul. What is really going on here? And sometimes it's very uncomfortable. I just want to point it out. There's a new beginning here, new starts with the new moon, May 4th, okay? So it's a start to have a look at it as a new perspective, but it will come to further light when you reach the full moon around May the 18th, okay? Over here, when the Scorpio moon opposes the Taurus sun, okay? So issues of very deep relationship dynamics that only occur in a pre-existing relationship that already has like that energy of deep soul merger, and you're discovering what is going on here. Over here, next thing is the this big opposition. This is to me the big challenge here for you, Libra. All that Pluto stuff and the Saturn stuff over here in Capricorn at the foundations of your life. You might feel some very, very deep, almost indescribable, but very profound shifts and changes, an unrelenting pressure to change, when it comes to the foundations of your life, basically the home, the place where you sleep, where you have a sense of family. Often it's a place where relationships actually are acted out, okay? And so there's a lot of pressure here, serious reality checking, like, dear Libra, this is Pluto. This is Saturn. Excuse me, I don't know if you've heard of us, but we're here now and we happen to be retrograde. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but what the bleep is going on? Okay? And then later in the month, for May, Mars happens to transition over up here to Mars in Cancer up in your 10th house of destiny, like place and purpose. So you might feel like, whoa, whatever is happening at home in my relationships is going to have a serious effect on me outside of the home. How am I perceived outside of the home? What am I going to do with my life outside of the home, in the world, in the public, in my destiny? I know it doesn't sound like a very lovey-dovey romantic reading, but I just feel obliged to point out this stuff, okay? Otherwise, what's the point in me doing this? All right. So anyway, let's go to the cards. Cards are already pre-shuffled, well shuffled in advance. I'm going to the last second so that you're a witness. No jumpers, no flyers. I am going to do an oracle later. You'll see. We're going to use the Tarot Lumination custom crucible spread. It's on the understanding that there's you, Libra, a significant other, and a third entity called the relationship. Yes. Okay. So with the crucible is a structure that is designed to withstand intense pressures in laboratories, just the same as what happens in human relationships. Okay. So we're just going to have a glimpse here. We're going to have a look. All right. Give me just another second. All right. Well, maybe a few more. All right. Now invite your invisible friends. Okay, Libra? Pay attention. They love to be invited. They don't want to be taken advantage of, or they don't want to be invisible. They want to participate in your life. Bless all the cards in the deck. Bless you, Libras. Bless Tarot Lumination and all the electricity and the internets that we can do this in, even at all. Over here, what are you radiating? Think of yourself like a smartphone, transmitting and receiving energy. Over here, what about the significant other? Deep inside of you, deep inside of the other, and at the core, the relationship itself. It is a living, breathing thing. Think of this as a pot plant. A potted plant, okay? Or a farm or a business, and you own it. You and the other, you own this thing. So what is the nature of the crucible? Does it have legs? Is it flexible under pressure? Is it highly rigid and inflexible? Is it porous and leaky? Is it fragile? What's going on? Okay, you guys own this. So think of it as a business. And what is it you are growing here in your business? Literally, it's like a family business. The love business, okay? So, for the first half of the month, you've got the Aries season. So it's like, it's full-on opposition, okay? That's just how it is. You came out of that with April, all right? But it's going to shift. It's going to move into Taurus, but that doesn't mean it's going to be any easier. Let's go to the weather, circumstantial energy, environmental influences. You have the Nine of Swords. So Libra, you might be surrounded by a significant other who is extremely stressed. You might be surrounded by other people who are extremely stressed. You might be swimming in a world of anxiety where there are all sorts of people coming in and out of your world, your environment, that are super stressed, okay, in one form or another. You might be picking up on this in such a way that, like, well, wait a minute, this might not be my stress. Like, so why am I stressed? Is it just because I'm a human and I'm with you and you're near me? Other people are near me, I'm near other people, and maybe you're picking up on that, okay? All right, Libra, so be aware. There's a lot of stress around you. It is around you. I'm not saying who or where or why it's coming from, but it is around you, okay? Let's have a look. What are you radiating here? For all we know, you're in absolute ecstasy. Have a look. Let's have a look. So the Prince of Pentacles. Okay, this is good news. My feeling, dear Libra, is that you're doing a really good job of coming with the best of intentions, okay? And you feel it as that is your job to do that, okay? This is very solid, reliable, trustworthy energy. It's almost like you're doing everything you can to be the best Libra you possibly can be. Okay? In order to like hold up your self-respect, your dignity, your sense of identity, your sense of self. But to me, it looks like it's happening against all odds. And what might also be happening is because if you're in an environment where there's a lot of stress around you, maybe you are being called out and you are responding accordingly in very noble, valuable, highly appreciated ways that may not be fully understood by others because they might be also wrapped up in all their stressors. But I think, to me, it looks like you're holding your ground, like you're doing a really good job of making sure that you come from a position of stability and a desire for the best possible outcome, measurable outcomes. With the Pentacles energy here in a love reading, your only intent is to do what has to be done that works, okay? That works in love and relationship. Whether that works for you or the other or the world or the relationship, that's another matter. But this looks like an energy of high integrity and like the energy of a really good farmer. Good farmer who understands the bigger picture, understands a lot about what's going on, and doesn't, you know, I often do that on the channel, like we blame the planets, but you're not blaming anybody or anything. You're just coming from the perspective of being sensible, stable, responsible, capable, and very well intended. All you want is the best outcome. For yourself, for the relationship, for the other, for everybody, for all of this stuff that's happening around you. For example, you might not understand, like, what is all of this? Why is everybody so freaked out? Why is everyone having such a hard time right now? And then you decide, okay, well, that's not the issue here. The issue is, if everyone is having such a hard time, what am I going to do about it? I'm just going to be me. I'm just going to hold my ground. Okay, thank you very much. That's actually a very loving gesture. Okay, Libra? What about the other? But the Six of Swords here, my feeling is that you might be dealing with a significant other who is almost like looking for a way out, but a peaceful way out, a peaceful resolution, like a compromise, some sort of deal where there's no harm intended here. But if they're looking to new horizons, new places of peace and tranquility, and moving away from where they are right now, how they are, whether it's with themselves or you or the relationship, home, family, whatever it is, swords with swords, my feeling is that you might be dealing with someone, Libra, who's looking for a way out. They're very, very stressed about it. There's no harm intended. They only want to take with them what works. In other words, if there's a lot of love between you guys, and you're doing everything you can, Libra, to be like really honorable and full of integrity about this, and you're dealing with a significant other who, for themselves, they actually want to move on. Okay, now you can interpret that however you like. Okay, maybe they just want to evolve and grow. Maybe that doesn't include you anymore. Maybe that includes you, but in a very different way than before, because they're only interested in moving forward in ways that actually work. It's like they don't need anything else except what works, just the good stuff, and leave anything and everything behind that doesn't work because it's, let's say, obsolete, okay? They want peace. They're looking for peace. They only want peace. It might be a very stressful situation for them, okay, deep down inside of you. The Prince of Swords. Okay, so to me it looks like there's a hidden part of you which is actually kind of almost angry that you have to be this way at all. Like, why? It's almost like, why does it fall on me to have to deal with all this other stress that's out there while I'm perfectly okay being who I am. Deep down, you might be like, to me, it looks like there's a part of you, like, all I want is what works. I want what is right, what is just, that which is true, that which is correct. Expressing it is a whole other thing because it might exacerbate all of this. In other words, stress and stresses and desire for less stress compounded by the desire for truth and justice and bringing things right could actually make it worse. But on the other hand, to me, it also feels like there's a question of integrity. Like, I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to compromise myself as a person just because everyone and anyone else or even the other person is having a really, really hard time right now. I still have to do what is right. Number one, for myself, there's no cups cards here, but I do see this as a loving combination, a high degree of integrity and honor and self-love and self-respect in a very challenging situation. And that deep down, you have probably a really good idea of what's going on, about what's not working or what all the other stresses are. But you know that there's probably a lot of risk of making things even worse by expressing this stuff. And so you end up having to be going back to this constantly. In other words, it's like the energy of the good farmer knowing like, okay, we've got all these problems here. Oh, we got problems here. We got problems with this. I know you're stressed out. I know you're showing signs of like, I just like, get me out of here. And the farmer, you, Libra, look is like, okay, I see it all. I see it all. All I want is to do what is best for us, for love, for relationship, for myself. And I'm going to do everything I can to do that. It's actually quite hard to do, but it means I have to come back to full center. I have to accept and admit and live with the reality that there's some serious challenges going on here. And then I have to admit to myself as the Libra that all of these things that are out there that are affecting you, the significant other, I have to be honest, they're affecting me too. If I'm really, really honest about it, it's almost like, like when farmers have to deal with incredibly stressful conditions like drought or flooding or whatever it might be, hurricanes, tornadoes or something, and they would really love to get angry and pissed off and swear and everything like that, but they know, like, well, this is what it's like being a farmer. I'm not saying you're a farmer, Libra. All I'm suggesting is that this is how tough it can be in love and relationship when you get very, very challenging circumstances. And you have to do what has to be done. And you have to maintain your integrity. And you maintain your truth. And no matter how hard it is, no matter how hard a time the other parties might be having, it's like the worst thing you could do is like cave in to all of this and let all of this affect you. So you have to acknowledge that it's there. You have to deal with it. And it would be so nice to call it out and say, listen, everyone, all of you, the significant other, everyone else out there in the world who's having a really sucky time, please understand, if Tarot Lumination was here, he'd say, that's your problem. These are your things that you have to deal with. But I know it's not always, absolute. We can't work that way. I have to admit, all these stressors out there, they are affecting me. But I don't really want to talk about it. I'm just going to do the best I can in the meantime, okay? So let's have a look at the other. With the High Priestess, to me, it looks like they're keeping a lot of secrets. They're keeping things very, very, very quiet because my feeling is that they're concerned about the combustibility of the secrets. They're concerned about the unknown factors of what's happening in the relationship that cannot be defined yet. All of these stressors that are surrounding you and the other in the relationship right now, They're there for a reason, Libra. All the stressors are an indication that whatever is not working, whatever is not understood, it's still a secret. It's still not understood. It is still hidden, and it will remain hidden until it needs to be exposed. And I don't think there's anyone here at Tarot Lumination or with the planets or anything who's going to put a timestamp on when that's going to happen. Even that is a secret, okay? It is a mystery. There is a deep, deep, deep sense of mystery that is going on, Libra, between you and your significant other, a significant other over here, okay? And that can be very, very confounding, especially if you're doing everything you can already to do what has to be done in a very noble, honorable, integral, well-meaning way. What about the relationship itself? Okay, so this adds to it. To me, that here with the moon, it puts you in a very difficult place, like with the relationship, where you reach a point where it's, again, like, I'm just using an analogy, okay, Libra, but it's like being the farmer who's absolutely at the very limits of their ability to maintain their integrity, their honor, their respect, their self-respect, and their ability to do the right thing, because the external conditions are so challenging. And the external conditions can include the behavior, actions, and events that are happening with a significant other. Remember, this is not a couple's reading. It's all about you, Libra. We're allowing for the co-star in this movie. So with the moon here, my feeling is that this relationship dynamic is take you to places where you really don't want to go, where you've never been before, that you're actually scared of going, and you don't really even want to go there, even under pressure. Like, I really don't want to do this. Seriously, people? Like, why? It's almost like a big question for me. Like, why? Well, I'm saying it's actually for you, Libra. Why is all this stuff out there that's really not my problem affecting me and my relationship so badly at the very core level, to the point where I'm actually almost at the point of freaking out? Let's have a look. What comes out of this? Okay, it's Nine of Pentacles. Okay, to me this looks like a question of honor and respect. In other words, okay, I'm going to do it kind of this way. It's almost like the only way to handle the situation is let things be the way they are. Accept that things are potentially very stressful for you as you go through this time period. And like all relationships, we intimate, we separate. We intimate and we separate. We intimate and we separate. Intimate and separate. And right now, it looks like there's a lot of sense of desire to separate, or that there is basically actual separation in terms of spirit, mind, attitudes, perceptions, to the point where it's so hard to understand the hows and the whys and the wherefores. It makes it very, very difficult for you to figure it out. So you end up coming back to full circle, okay, where to me it looks like all about the energy of the individual here, realizing like on the one hand, you're extremely fortunate to have what you have and to be who you are and to be able to conduct yourself with so much integrity. Okay, I'm going to do this again. With so much integrity in the face of so much potential stress and opposition. Like, this could be really, really challenging for you here at the home, in the sense of home and family. And it will be amplified over here, okay, in your sense of destiny. So what is it actually, what's happening in my life? Where am I going to be going in a few years from now? Because there are huge, deep, profound, slow, irreversible changes happening in my home, my family, the foundations of my life. And I'm starting to see it as reflected back to me from all the significant others in my life, especially a significant other. Whew, confounding. And so you get to a position, well, you know what? I have to admit I can handle it. I don't want to handle it. I have to maintain my integrity. I have to maintain my independence, my own sense of, let's say, value and values, structure, substance, and let everyone else be themselves. In other words, it's almost like it's really simple. In other words, like, Libra, you're doing everything you can properly, okay, with full integrity. And it might be very confounding for you as an experience in love and relationship, okay? So all this stuff might be very confusing for you. Like, what the bleep is going on with you? Like, well, I'm in this place, and just, everything's fine. Everything's fine. They're not talking about it. But you might be seeing signs, dear Libra, that the significant other over here is like, I wish I could get out of this stressful situation. I don't even know how to define the stress, but I want out. I just want peace for myself. I want peace for me. And then you realize, wow, we're dealing with true individuals here in the context of a relationship. And you're learning, each of you are learning more and more about being yourselves. And sometimes it's a very, very painful lesson, coming into your own sense of integrity, your own sense of self, where each one of you, through very stressful conditions, circumstances, become actually more and more and more individuated as beings. So in a very bizarre, convoluted way, I see you coming out of this wiser, richer, more valued, more valuable. It's just in a very, probably the actual journey to get there is quite uncomfortable. And it's also the same for the other. As I see this as a, they call it growing pains. Like, I'll go back to this again, jeepers. There's so much pressure here. It's loose, but it's there. When I'm looking at the Cancer energy, the Capricorn energy, and the Aries energy, on and off simultaneously, that puts a lot of pressure on you, Libra, and it's all external. But look, you're holding up well. Everyone else out there, they're going through their own stressors. Hence, all of the Nine of Swords are over here. But again, in a way, that's not your problem. You can actually benefit from all of this and grow and mature and evolve and become more individuated in yourself. And in so doing, allow and nurture the other to become more individuated in the self. Okay? Growing pains, serious evolutionary growing pains, almost tortuous growing pains. All right, so I'm going to do one more little card here, like I did with the other readings. Please indulge me. It'll just be a couple of minutes. Don't worry. I'm not going to read from the book. I'm just going to pull the card and you can reinterpret, all right? It's from the Romance Angels deck. I love this deck. I don't use any of her other decks, but I do love this one. So I thought I'd throw this one in as a bit of a, sort of a, just like an afterthought, okay? You're going to have to interpret it, all right? I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to read it. Bless you, dear Libra. Thank you for being here at all. I love doing this for you guys. I hope this helps you guys. I hope this helps you, Libra. Remember, it's not a couple's reading. It's all about you. If they need help, they can get their own reading, all right? And they know where to come, all right? Cross-watching can help. All right, here we go. Ooh, wow, I did a micro-thin cut there. Did you see that? Whoa. Let's have a look. Honeymoon. Okay. Enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. Okay, this looks very contradictory to the rest of the reading, but maybe it's one of those things where you decide, you know what? We need a break from what we call our love and our relationship and our day-to-day life. Let's do something completely wild and wacky. Let's get away, okay? Let's just get away, because this to me looks like would be a honeymoon after a honeymoon after a honeymoon. Like, couples often do that. Well, not often, but some couples do that, where they deliberately create new honeymoons. And it typically happens when relationships have reached very challenging moments and they realize we need to go on a honeymoon. It's where you kind of isolate yourselves into a little cocoon. And my feeling here is that this would help you guys to figure out this stuff. In other words, consider this as a gesture of like a healing. Let's go on a healing together where we just sit with each other and we be with each other and we come out with the truth. And let's deal with some of these secrets and let's deal with these mysteries so we're not living in fear or wondering what the heck is going on, so we can actually grow and evolve here. Okay? It doesn't look like there's any personal malevolence going on. No one's trying to blame each other for anything. It's just that it looks like, let's assume this is a loving couple. We need to reveal it to hear what is going on. What is the source of all this pain? What are we going to do about it? How are we going to handle it? Please be ready to reveal what needs to be healed, dear significant other. So I'm not scared out of my wits, so I can be me and you can be you. Okay, let's do this, okay? Thank you very much, Libra. I hope this helps you, all right? All the best in May. This too shall change.